I've learned so much from traveling and competing that I'd like to pass that on and trailblaze a little bit, inspire a little bit, like you say, to follow your passion, follow your dreams, and hopefully they can find some support in me.
My very special guest today on the red couch is none other than the international Barbadian surfer Chelsea Tuach, whose name appears in newspapers and in news stories and radio and television across the globe and here in Barbados, and we're very proud to have her as an outstanding Barbadian athlete. As you can see, she's not surfing today, she's surfing on the red couch, so to speak. Looks very comfortable, and we want to welcome her to the red couch here today. So, Chelsea, good to have you as my guest.
Thank you for having me. I am very comfortable and looking forward to a chat.
Lovely, lovely. I have to ask you the obvious question. Why did you choose surfing over tennis or football or some other sport? Why?
I think I was always drawn to the water. So my family loved the beach. And every weekend we would be going to the beach, and every August we rented a beach house at Catawash, and I was in the water from the sun up to sundown.
At Catawash?
Yes, at Catawash, and loved the rough waves and the breakers over there.
Very brave.
And my dad and my big brothers, so I am one of 4 siblings, the youngest one by quite a bit as well. And my big brothers were surfers, and my dad would go out and surf and leave me at home, and I didn't like that. I always wanted to be in everything. I always thought I was older than I was and bigger than I was. Yeah. So begged mum to let me start surfing, and she got lessons with Zed Layson for my sister and I. And from there it took off. It was going to the beach, but instead of just playing in the kiddie pools, I was out in the waves and loved being with my big brothers and sharing that with my dad and family. And I really loved it since I was a young kid.
Mm-hmm. But what was life like? You mentioned a brother and you mentioned siblings.
Right, so I had 2 older brothers and an older sister. Primary school went to St. Angela's, secondary school went to Queen's College, because I was a good student and I loved school, I loved my studies. I started doing a bit more international competitions when I was in secondary school in Queen's College, and luckily my teachers were understanding. I did have to miss a bit of school. At the time, I don't think surfing was regarded as such a special sport, and I was probably more regarded as a beach bum than an athlete, which has changed quite a bit to now. But my school teachers were still definitely understanding, and I had very bright friends as well, and I think they probably helped me through school the most. But it was a challenge, but I always loved my schooling, and I still came away with CXCs, 6 grade 1s and 2 grade 2s. And after CXCs was then the big decision, because I didn't really want to give up either or. I didn't want to give up surfing or school. But I had some good conversations with my parents, who were very supportive, and also Peter Hill. He at the time was actually a sponsor, giving me surfboards, and he was a great surfer, is still a great surfer, but in his day he felt like his parents made him choose university and going to school over competing, and he said it's a regret he's had through his whole life. And he told me and sat down with me and my mom, and he said, you know what, you can always go to university or you can take it on the road with you, but don't give up surfing, just go for it. A school will always be there, but you have such a special talent and you love it so much. Don't have any regrets, just go for it. And I think that was a huge decision, a huge step. When I was 16, Mum shipped me off to California, and I started doing WSL events and Pro Junior events, and the rest is history.
Incredible. What about training? Do you do things like weight training? Do you go in the gym? Do you run? Or is all the training done in the water?
I definitely do all of the above. I shouldn't say my most important training, but the thing that gets me most prepared for contests and improves my surfing the most is just being in the water and having my mom film me or a coach film me and watching it back. So that is the most important part of my training, and I probably surf every day or close to. But weight training is also very important for me, because I am a small girl as well. And almost the heavier you are and the bigger you are, once you can stay agile, is the better, because in surfing, the judges are looking for how much water you can displace, how much power you can put into your maneuvers and your turns. And so I need those big thighs and I need a strong body to really displace the water and get those big scores. So I do train at Surfside with George, and we're on quite a big weight training program. So I would say I do that 3 times a week. And then definitely my cardiovascular health is also really important. I hate running, unfortunately to say. I tried a few times and I tried to get into it, but honestly, it's really not my cup of tea. So more HIIT training. I love Pilates as well. Pilates and yoga I think is very important for my flexibility. But yeah, more HIIT and that kind of thing other than running.
So outside of all of these things, what are your, you have any other interests that you, things that you follow or that you do? You're into crop over, carnival, partying, you know what I mean?
I love crop over, but August is always a busy month for competition, and I've only jumped once. My first year when I was 16.
Well, you did it.
I did it and I loved it and haven't done it again, but I do love that. I love traveling, honestly, and meeting people. When my time at home is my most special because I'm always on the road. But I love to come home and see my friends, see the young girls in the water as well, because it seems like there's been a gap from my generation, myself, Josh Burke, Che Allen. We have a few really good surfers around my age in the mid-20s, but we didn't have as many coming up. So I love to spend some time at home, see who's in the water, and really try and help to foster a good surf community. I think that's what we're lacking right now. We don't have as many surfers and young surfers coming up. And from, like you say, hearing what a great man Stan, my grandfather, is, and my great-grandfather T.T. Lewis, they left Barbados better than they found it. And I'm hoping that I can do that as well. I've learned so much from traveling and competing that I'd like to pass that on and trailblaze a little bit, inspire a little bit. Like you say, to follow your passion, follow your dreams, and hopefully they can find some support in me, even if I can just tell stories of what I've done or help them with just in the water, showing them which waves to go for, or, you know, just being around to say encouraging words. That's a passion of mine now as I get older.
So my question to you, Chelsea, is, and without going into your personal finances, can you make a living out of surfing, a professional surfer? Is that possible?
Yes, you can. You definitely can. And I think my parents probably got that question a lot, especially when I was going after it and not going to university but going to travel. But what's she really doing? What's she going to do? She's not doing school. She can't make a living out of it. You're from Barbados, and the top of the sport is the World Championship Tour. When you qualify, it's the top 18 women in the world, top 32 men. You're making the big bucks then. You've got the sponsors, and it's the most prestigious tour. And that's what I was going for. And no one's like, the people from Australia and the US and Europe are on that tour. No one from Barbados is going to make it. And Mom's like, well, I believe in her. She wants to do it. She's passionate, and she's got everything she needs, you know. She's got the drive, so we're gonna try. No one from the Caribbean had done it before, and that was my goal. And I started doing the qualifying series, which is a big world tour that gets you onto the Elite Championship Tour, and I did it for 2 years, and I ended up qualifying, ending 4th in the world in 2015 and qualifying for this big elite tour. And it still kind of gives me goosebumps thinking about it, because so many people were like, this is never going to happen for you. You're never going to make money. What else are you going to be doing? And I went there and I achieved it. And if I can, so many others from Barbados can do it, and from the world. Once you have that determination, you can't really think about all the naysayers, or you can't think of the negative or what happens if I don't make it. You just have to go for it.
That's a beautiful answer. And I think a good point for me to bring this to conclusion. Lovely to end on a high note. So it's an honor for me and a privilege to have this opportunity to chat with you and to have you here on the red couch.
Thank you very, very much for having me. I enjoyed myself.
Lovely. That's Chelsea Tuach, world famous Barbadian surfer, here on the red couch.